Peace, peace, peace. Peace, y'all. Welcome to the Universal Temple for the Sun, Planet, Moon, and Stars. It's your host, Lord Messiah. And we're going into part two of what is nation building. And we were going in on let me get this started on the Facebook and the YouTube. So we was going in on the book of the Law of Nations, and that book is breaking down a lot of science pertaining to nations and how do nations build themselves and so forth and so forth. So let me leave that right there. I'll come back on that. So basically, I'm going to go back into that and I'm going to draw up some more science. Oh, then I went real quick. I'm gonna draw up some more science on that, and we're gonna go back into that. All right, 1 second. I'm just transferring this video over to. I mean, actually, y'all just seen the same video now. All right. So we're gonna go into it, right? So, Law of Nations. All right, bam, and we back in the building with it. All right, so. All right, so now we're gonna go into all right. So now we got book 2 here. And this is dealing with, okay, a nation considering in her relation to other states. Right. See, so like I was saying before, international law, when you're dealing with international law, this is how, or international agreement, this is how nations form agreements with each other. This is how nations relate with each other. You know what I mean? So the state of a nation, all the stuff. Okay, so a nation considered in her relation to other states. Okay, so now it says chapter 1 of the common duties of a nation toward other states, of the mutual commerce between nations. So right, so like I was saying, when you deal with let's say a bilateral treaty is just like with your nation and the state that you're presently within or whatever, say, or the nation that you're presently within. So of the common duties of a nation toward other nation. So then when you come into that international agreement, then you have the rights that you both are respected to be protected by and to respect, saying each other's boundaries and this, that, and third, and so on and so forth. So the mutual commerce between nations. So like I was saying, different nations have commerce. In Europe, they have the euro, and in Japan, they got the yen. Different places they got different currencies. In America, they have the Federal Reserve note. So what's the mutual commerce between nations? Saying how are we going to deal in nations? Is it going to be trade? You know what I'm saying? How are we going to barter system? How are we going to do? Of the dignity and equality of nations, of titles and honor. So then, you got like ambassadors, you have ministers of foreign affairs, you have different people that travel and are representatives, national representatives of different nations, you know what I'm saying? And they travel to handle diplomatic affairs or whatever the case may be. And like I was talking about before, when these people travel, they travel with diplomatic status, diplomatic immunities and things of that nature. They travel as a consular post, you know what I'm saying? And they have mad rights. They could even murder somebody and possibly get away with it due to under certain international laws. You know what I'm saying? So this shit is real deep. You know what I'm saying? Of the rights of security and the independence of nations. Right. The right of security, meaning you have the right to defend yourself, militarize yourself, and be independent. That's how you truly be independent as a nation. Like the Declaration of Independence Before the Declaration of Independence, didn't they have a war before that shit happened? You know what I'm saying? So they had to fight for their independence. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, of the observance of justice between nations, right? Like I was saying, how when you have mutual laws and duties and obligations between nations, then you have an observance of justice between nations. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna observe the laws and make sure that everything is being handled according to the law. And guess what? Being that you're on that equal status, then you got the same right to enforce and make sure that you're protected by these laws. But like I said, when you're in a subject status, you got to get violated by the people who consider you state property. Then go before a judge and complain to the judge and say, "Yo, your buddies beat me up, or your buddies did this to me," and he's going to be like, "Oh, they did. Oh, well, sorry about that. You know, this is our system. You know, we do have control over you Negroes. You are our property. Did you forget? Oh, okay. Well, let me put you in that cell just to remind you." Okay, yeah. Anyway. So effects of the domain between nations, you know what I'm saying? So in other words, you know, the effects of where you domicile, and, you know, basically what your physical jurisdiction is, your geographic jurisdiction is. So like I was saying, if you have treaties with other nations, then you can have what's called dual citizenship and or what's called extraterritoriality, meaning your territory extends. Just like, you know, how we talk about the Moorish Empire and how the Moorish Empire expands over many lands and so forth. You know what I'm saying? It's that same thing. So when you're in an international agreement with other nations, and let's say these nations happen to be overseas, because international jokes don't always pertain to people overseas. You know what I'm saying? It just means any nation. The Nation of Islam is a nation. Nation of God's Earth is a nation. The Moorish nation is a nation. The Wapian nation is a nation. The Hebrew Israelites, whatever, they're a nation. So let's just say we came all together in some kind of international agreement. We drew up a document that, listen, we don't all bear witness to each other's teachings, because that's the big thing that we have as to why we can't unite. Oh, man, we don't teach that shit. They teach that shit. We don't believe in that. Oh, they teach that. We don't. We don't gotta believe in each other's teachings, man. God, what y'all don't understand about that? We could just say, listen, well, the Nation of Islam, they have this resource and they could bring this to the table. You know, the Moors, they're real studied in law and they have that resource. They could bring that to the table. You know, the gods, we have this, we could bring this to the table. Like, everybody has something to bring to the table. Whatever it is that we have, you know what I'm saying? You know, we bring that to the table. The guys, we've been focused a lot on building the youth, reaching out to the youth. You know, so we have, our school is called the Outreach Center for the Growth and Development of the Youth. You know what I'm saying? Youth Outreach Center. So therefore, we've been bringing in the youth for years. So we have the ability to attract the young. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the elder people is in the mosque. You know what I'm saying? And then people of all ages may be in the more sensible, whatever. So, however, we have a mixture of all these different things that we need to bring together, because we're all a universal family, as we say, right? And we always talking all this, black people need to come together. We need to come together. We need to come together. I'm so tired of hearing that shit, man. Because y'all niggas talk that shit all the time. But when I be trying to bring everybody together, I be sending out these links. Nation building, nobody's coming together. But y'all, but somebody could post something like you know, just some simple shit. And everybody's all, oh yeah, word up, God, peace, God, yeah, God. Man, get the fuck out of here, man, with all that corny fake book typing shit. Everybody want to be like we in a boys and girls club. Y'all be seeing this nation as a boys and girls club, man. A lot of y'all be seeing this nation as a boys and girls club. I'm not on some boys and girls club shit, man. I'm on some, like, we grown-ass men and grown-ass women. We need to be building shit. And when I say building, like the name of this, what is nation building? When I say nation building, I mean physically constructing something on top of the foundation. So you know how we say we say the mathematics is our foundation, but we say 120 is a foundation, right? So 120 is a foundation. Then, like I always say, A foundation is to be built upon, not restructured and the bricks and the foundation moved around. Because that's all we're doing when we so-called building on 120. If you start off the conversation, because and plus just talking about the lessons is not necessarily, building to the degree to the level of where I'm talking about building, because all that talking stuff, we've been talking about these lessons for a long ass time. I want to see physical action. Damn all that talking. We've been talking for years, man, and I'm tired of hearing all this talking, all this high science shit that sounds good coming out of a person's mouth, but I don't ever see them doing none of that high science shit they talking. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm talking about, man. Like physically doing what you're saying, not just saying it. Putting your actions where your mouth is. You know how I say put your money where your mouth is? They don't require no money. We poor righteous teachers, right? Put your actions where your mouth is. And like I said, the actions I'm trying to do is build us up to the point where we can present something to the United Nations. It ain't just got to be them, but being that they are established and they do have that International Monetary Fund I'm talking about, we can easily, I've been watching, like, just type in United Nations Conference. Watch their conferences. Listen to the language. Listen to the stuff they talk about. And if you read this treaty handbook, they be talking about the same stuff in that handbook. I hear the language and all of that. Like, I understand this stuff. So if I were to sit down at the United Nations meeting, I'll be able to speak their language and get a treaty fucking acceded to. I would get other nations. Listen, y'all. Appoint me as a national representative. I am a national representative regardless. But I'm asking y'all appoint me as a national representative, because I can go before the United Nations and have ourselves heard. I can speak before them. I can speak the language. You understand what I'm saying? And I can get us recognized on an international level. And that's what I intend to do anyway. You know what I'm saying? Regardless if y'all want to help me do it or not, I'm gonna do it anyway. Yeah, know that. Yo, Messiah said he gonna go to the United Nations. Yup. Because I see that this is what needs to be done. And you know what? And mad older gods told me that too, in the nation too. It's like, yo, God, you can't sit around and wait on everybody to do it, God. If you see it need to be done, you go do it, God. So yeah, you know what? I'm gonna take their advice. I'm gonna take their words they gave me. And this is told to me by older gods in the nation. So I don't want to hear none of you brothers my age or younger than me got to say. This older gods told me this. You know what I'm saying? So, they said, yo, God, you see this need to be done, God, you got to do it, God. You got to be person of setability. You got to show and prove. And after you do it, then we going to add on. Yeah. You know how long I've been hearing that we going to add on shit? Like I said, if y'all can't even get to see what I'm saying now, y'all can't even get the vision and get with the vision, then I don't want y'all Johnny come latelys trying to enjoy the fruits of my labor. Because if I got to labor and do all this shit myself, then I'm not doing it for a bunch of lazy ass motherfuckers who don't even want to help. I'm doing it for those who actually helped and those who assisted. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, if I can't do it for the nation, then I'll do it for, y'all see this banner behind me? This is my nation, Lord Messiah Allah El, universal, UNI verse all temple for the sun, planet, moon, and stars. This is my international organization. I developed my international organization. And I'm gonna go to the United Nations. I'm gonna get something done. I'm not gonna be a nation within a nation. My nation is gonna be a nation among nations. Yeah. And all this stuff I'm reading out to y'all, I'm gonna implement this stuff right here. You know what I'm saying? So let's move on. You got so yes, the observance of justice, right? Of the chapter 6 of the concern of a nation may have an action in her citizens. Of the concern a nation may have in the actions of her citizens, right? So in other words, meaning like the citizens of the nation. So, quote unquote, the members of the nation of gods of earth, we would be considered citizens of the nation of gods of earth, so to speak. You know what I'm saying? And then the nation itself would have a concern of action toward her citizens. So in other words, like the nation has obligations toward its members. You know what I'm saying? Like one of the things that I want to do, if brothers want this done, I was offering the services, and I still offer. Ain't not one person accepted my free services. I've been offering services to brothers, gods of earths. If y'all want to develop wills, if you want to develop your trust, and I've done multiple videos on the importance of a will and importance of a trust. I'm not going to go into depth about that right now. But these are legal documents that every man and woman must have. You know, how does scripture say, thy will be done on thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven? And when the disciples was asking so-called Jesus about the kingdom of heaven, because it says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. And Jesus, and when the disciples was asking Jesus what coming out of the kingdom of heaven was going to be, he said, it's not going to be a place you can see with the observe with the physical eyes. You're not going to be able to say here nor there. He said, for behold, the kingdom of heaven is within you. So if the scripture says, thy kingdom come, thy will be done as on earth as it is in heaven. If the kingdom of heaven is within you and thy will be done on earth, that means that that kingdom that is within you, you have to manifest that on the earth. You know what I'm saying? So this is what I'm doing. I'm manifesting my kingdom, my heaven on earth. That kingdom that is within me, I'm manifesting that on the outside. The kingdom, from the king's dome. From the king's dome. You know how they say, Eddie Murphy said that in life, you know what I'm saying? You know, it's all up here in the mind. You know what I'm saying? You know, the rest, you read the Bible and shit. You know, as a man thinketh, so shall he get, some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? You read the Bible. What he was saying is what Jesus said. He said, as a man thinketh, so is he. So in the same sense, as a woman thinketh, so is she. So it's all about your mental. It's all about your thoughts. So as you think these things, so if we start thinking on these things as a nation and start putting the work behind it, it can physically come into existence. And it's as simple as that. Just got to do the work. Stop all this lazy ass complaining and, yo, is that some more science stuff? Oh, that sounds like some more stuff. And then shut the fuck up. Shut up with that shit, man. Y'all niggas make any excuse not to study anything outside of your 120 lesson box. That's all people fucking know is 120 lessons. And if it ain't 120, the father didn't teach that. We're not allowed to learn that now. Say for God. Shut the fuck up, man. Stagnation ass niggas. Y'all niggas don't deal with the nation. Y'all deal with stagnation. Y'all deal with procrastination. Y'all ain't dealing with the nation. Y'all ain't dealing with elevation of the nation. Y'all dealing with stagnation, procrastination. And since all you know is your lessons, indoctrination. A lot of you brothers are indoctrinated. All you know is your lessons. That's all you know. You stand like, yo, man, it's like, yo, this Muslim brother told me a long time ago, man. It's, shout out to Mujahid, man. One of the brothers that was mentoring me as I was coming up as a young brother. And he was like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? It's all good to have your lessons and everything. But I was like maybe 17, 18 at the time, knowledge God, knowledge build at the time. He's like, yeah, I don't want to see you out here 25, you know what I'm saying? Out here, staying still with your lessons, you know what I'm saying? And da-da-da-da-da and all of that. And basically what he was saying was, and you ain't established no family, no civilization for yourself. You know what I'm saying? You ain't did nothing. You just out here with your lessons, talking about the black man is God and all that shit. Man, get the fuck out of here. Basically, he was trying to tell me, man, be productive. Do something for yourself. Don't stand out here just quoting your lessons and out here just, and Musa and scientist Yaqub and all that. Man, listen, man. do something with that lessons, man. Produce something, basically what he's trying to tell me, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's the same advice I'm gonna pass on to y'all. The same advice I pass on to anybody, man. Don't be indoctrinated by your field of study. Don't be indoctrinated. You know what I'm saying? Be educated, because to educate comes from the root word, the Latin word educe, which means to bring out from within, and it also means to care for. So like say like when you're teaching your children, when you're educating a child, you're teaching that child with love and you're caring for that child. You know what I'm saying? You're being humble, you're being patient, you're giving the child, you're allowing the child to make mistakes, you give the child room for improvement. You know what I'm saying? You don't harshly criticize the child, you know what I'm saying, to tear them down and tear down their confidence so they don't grow. You be patient with the child and you teach the child. So what was I saying with that? So in the same sense, that's how you educate the child, basically. That's how you allow the child to bring out from within. That's how you bring out what is within. Because like I said, the answers to all the questions we have is already within us. What older people do is they being that they're older and wiser, they just guide us with wisdom. Wisdom is the way. They show us the way on how to come up to lead us to the understanding. They give us the proper knowledge and wisdom to lead us to the understanding, so we can develop the understanding for ourselves. They show us the way, basically. And that's all it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like the same way that brother told me, you know what I mean? Don't be out here later years in your life, still out here with your lessons and and all of that, you know what I'm saying? So I'll tell you the same thing, you know what I'm saying? We can't be poor, righteous teachers forever. We ain't supposed to be poor, righteous teachers. You know how I see that, Drew? I don't see myself as and listen, I'm not changing the lesson. I'm not going to write the lesson down like this, but in my mind, to prevent myself from being content with being poor, because I'm not poor. I'm not rich and I'm not poor. You know what I'm saying? But the science is that I'm not a poor, righteous teacher. I'm a righteous teacher of the poor. Like I said in my rhyme, I said, Lord Messiah, I teach the poor about righteousness, and I don't believe in the teachings of the 10%. I'm more wise. I know the true and living God, and I teach that the black man is Allah, arm, leg, arm, head. You know the science. Freedom, justice, and equality is what I'm applying. You an ant can't understand that I'm a giant. I'm a captain with status. You just a private soldier. I'm older. Call me the soul controller with a mathematical black culture. I'm influential to the babies like a poster, while you blood sucking the youth like a vulture. My magnetic is ultra. So when I approach you, I greet with peace because I'm supposed to. That's an extension of love to bring us closer. Slavery, that's old stuff. Black people, we taking over. You know what I'm saying? So, I teach the poor about righteousness. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't believe in the teachings of the 10%. I'm not here to blood suck the poor and tell them some lie. God is in the sky. He's coming back for you. Jesus is coming back to you. Come on down to the church, brother. Put some donation in the offering, brother. Yes, brother, you're going to get your blessing. You're going to get that back tenfold. You know what I'm saying? The Lord sees you. Yeah. Bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Just so you can blood suck the poor and get richer and richer. You know what I'm saying? We're not out here doing that. I'm out here teaching the poor about righteousness. I'm teaching the poor how, like, for example, I got this thing on my phone right now. Do y'all know right now, just a quick jewel real fast, the government or whatever is giving out funds for, it's called the Excluded Workers Fund. The Excluded Workers Fund. And like I was going in the store the other day, this dude that be in front of the gas station, they keep asking me for money and shit. And I was like, yo, I ain't got it right now, man. And then when I thought about it, I said in the store, when I wrote down, I wrote down the site for him. But when I come out the store, I was going to give him that thing and show him like, yo, bro, if you wasn't working on this Corona thing, it's what's called the Excluded Workers Fund, where they got funds for people, and they probably gonna give you the same thing like how we was getting on that PAU shit. They're gonna give you probably like the $300 or how before we was getting $600 and they broke it down $300. But hey, you might get that $300 a week or some shit. You know what I'm saying? They might be giving you some assistance or whatever. I'm thinking they might give you about like 3 to 5, but a definite 3 at least. You know what I'm saying? So I will tell the brother, go online, fill this application out, and get some money in your pocket, man. You're gonna have at least 300 a week or something. You ain't gotta be out here standing in front of the store begging people for money and then getting mad when they don't want to do for you what you need to do for yourself. You know what I'm saying? So the same thing with us as a nation of people, so-called black people, man. We keep getting mad at the government and white people. They not doing this and doing that. What we need to do for ourselves. And now, now, how are we going to do this? Like I said, we can't just jump from 1 to 6 so quick overnight. We can't turn from a slave to a king overnight. So it's going to be a gradual process. So I say, use this Federal Reserve notes, use this system, build up some kind of wealth and resources to the point where we could be sufficient enough to say, okay, now we can detach from them because we got enough to last us long enough to where we could become sufficient or independent on our own. And that's how you branch off. Just like, I mean, come on, it's common sense. Just like if you a child and before you leave your parents' house, your parents gonna allow you, okay, I ain't gonna charge you no rent or whatever, whatever, save your money up, do what you gotta do, you know what I'm saying? And you go off and you get your own place or whatever. So the same thing, man. And then you become emancipated or independent of your parents. You know what I'm saying? And then you become codependent with a woman, and then you have a child or something, and then y'all become interdependent as a family. That's how it goes. Like, come on, man, common fucking sense. So like Elijah Muhammad said, we are in a state of being like an abusive wife to our former slave masters. They keep beating us and they keep abusing us. But just like a abused wife making excuses for the husband beating on her, we keep making excuses why we accepting the abuse that we accepting and keep making excuses for it when we know we need to terminate this relationship. So going back to how it said how, in the last show, how you can declare your renounce your allegiance to your sovereign. So in other words, we don't need to say we a nation within a nation anymore. We could tell them we're not a nation within a nation. We're not under you anymore. We stand in an equal stance as you now. And eventually we plan on being greater than you. So, but a slave is afraid to tell the master that. But if you truly a master, then you won't be afraid to tell another master that you're a master too, and that you're no longer going to be a slave. But if you're a slave, then you're afraid to say that. So like I said, as a nation, if we keep with this mentality of being a nation within a nation, we are thinking like slaves. And that quote within itself is slavery. And I denounce that quote. Whoever made that quote, whoever invented that quote, if they are still alive, if you have a problem with me denouncing that, come to me and show and prove to me how we need to stand on that quote. As a nation. Or anybody else who disagree with me disagreeing with that. Prove to me otherwise. Prove to me how we need to be a nation within a nation and not be a nation standing on our own. Show me how and why we need to do that. Exactly. You cannot. Because if you did, then you'd be talking like a goddamn slave. What's better than what we got here? You talk about international law and becoming our own nation among nations, and man, what are you talking about, man? Oh, man. Yeah, man. Dudes ain't about that life. All right, so let's go. What's next? Rules respecting foreigners. So now, if you have foreigners that enter into your land or into your jurisdiction, you got rules that are going to respect them, especially if you're in treaty with another nation. Then when other people from that nation may enter into your jurisdiction, you're going to have rules to respect them. Like I was talking about customary laws and things of that nature. Rights retained after the introduction of domain and property. Right. So once you declare something as private property, you have rights to that domain and property. You know what I'm saying? That can be enforced. How a nation is to use her right of domain, you know what I'm saying? So like, in other words, we're not gonna hold people hostage. Like I said, how a nation will deport another person back to their jurisdiction or to the nation they come from. We would do the same thing. We ain't holding nobody hostage. Ain't nobody, we ain't on it like that. you know what I'm saying, of usurpation and prescription between nations. Excuse me. So in other words, some nations can usurp other nations. Like some people thought that, I ain't gonna go there, but anyway, that's a whole other topic. Of treaties and alliance. Oh, well, anyway, let me just state for myself. I'm not trying to usurp the nation. I'm trying to get this nation into our nation into this information so we can usurp the so-called nation that we're within. We need to usurp them, meaning override them. You know what I'm saying? Whoever they may be. Of treaties of alliance and other public treaties. Right. So now treaties of alliance and public treaties. So once you make these treaties, when you make a treaty, an international agreement with another nation, then that is a definite public notice because that whole nation is on public notice of this treaty. You know what I'm saying? And then you can enforce treaty laws. And then when I was going back into the book of the treaty handbook, I was telling brothers, there is a way that you have to go about acceding to a treaty. You can't, or a declaration, a constitution, whatever the case may be. You can't just say, yo, I'm using this declaration and this declaration applies to me. I'm using this treaty and this treaty applies to me. Says who? What? The nations that are already a party to that treaty, did you have an international agreement with them? Did you sit down and have a conference with their heads of state and with your heads of state and say, okay, we're signing on to this treaty or we're acceding to this treaty. Oh, you guys in agreement? Oh, we're on agreement. Okay, we all agree? All right, boom, we're in agreement. And now we're all in agreement. That is the process, man. It's called a convention. You sit down and you have your agreement. You make this public knowledge known to the whole world. You don't print up some papers, go passing them around and talk about, yeah, we making this public announcement and this is what it is from here on out and blah, 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 blah. The rest of the civilized world, the rest of the nations of the world are going to look at you like, really? Okay, you might say that, but we don't agree with that. We don't bear witness to you. And there's no law that you have in place or any law that's protecting you that says we have to respect you in whatever you say you're doing and blah, 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 blah. And if we happen to interrupt or interfere or whatever, what are you going to do to stop us? You know what I'm saying? You ain't got no military. You don't own no land. You don't have no control of any resources. You ain't stopping our economy. You ain't shutting down nothing. You can declare yourself as whatever, and shit is still going to be going on the same way it been going on. You ain't about to usurp the whole nation because you and a couple of people said, oh, we free and we not fucking with y'all no more. Leave us alone. Really? Okay. Okay. Like I said, other nations, you know what they consider people like that? They consider them what's called warring factors. Because it's like, yo, all over the nation, all over the planet, all these different nations have all these agreements with each other. They have treaties and they have international boundaries and jurisdictions and everything that they respect, Then all of a sudden, some people just pop up out of nowhere talking about, we don't give a fuck about your boundaries, your jurisdictions, your whatever. We're the heirs to the land. All of this belongs to us. Y'all got to bow down to us. And because we wrote up some paper and made some public speech, y'all got to respect this and blah, 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 blah. Okay. I'm not even going to sit here and keep arguing with that shit. If you think that's what it is, more power to you. I would love to see it done. Do it. Stop talking about it and do it. And especially if you're saying we don't need all these people, then you get a couple of people. You don't need me because you just want to argue with me. You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting here, I'm with you. I'm your fucking brother. I'm sitting here giving you information to add on to what you're trying to do and what you're saying. I'm not taking away anything. You didn't hear me take away nothing from what you said. I'm not taking away, I'm adding on. But no, you obviously don't want help and assistance. You want followers because you want some dictatorship. And like I said before, I'm not a homo. I don't take no man's dictation, okay? I don't take no dictatorship from no man. So Miss me with that. You know what I'm saying? Sent brothers blessings on their born day and all that, man. Congratulating them on their great works and all of that. You know what I'm saying? No appreciation. I still get arrogant attitude. I don't get no humbleness out of a brother. He still wants to talk to me with this arrogant attitude and still talk all this anger and yada, yada, yada. You got anger toward white people and what they did to you and da, 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 but you talking this anger toward me. I'm sitting here trying to build with you in a civilized manner, but you bringing up all this anger. That's clouding and frustrating things. And we can't sit down and get anything done because every 5 seconds you're talking about what you mad about and what they did to you in the past. How the fuck are we going to get any work done? Like the brother was just saying, y'all seen the past video, how the hell are we going to get any work done? We can't even sit here and talk civilly because you got all this anger and frustration. So if all that anger and all of that, if you can't direct that positively and intelligently, then that is why we can't work together. Not because I don't want to get on the same angry vibration as you, and then we just be two angry black men running around here destroying shit. Man, get out of here with that. I'm not with that. You want to go destroy some shit, then you go destroy some shit, man. Go to a fucking, get a punching bag or some shit, man. You know what I'm saying? What the fuck, man? I ain't got time for all that, man. Get to a boxing gym or some shit, man. Spar with some motherfuckers. Get some of that anger out or something, man. Beat some people up or some shit. I don't know. Do whatever you need to do, man. You know what I'm saying? But get all that anger out of you, man. Go beat some white people up if that's going to make you feel better. What the fuck, man? I don't know, man. You know what I'm saying? Get that anger out of you, because if you don't relieve that, we can't do nothing, man. We can't get nothing done. You know what I'm saying? Because every 5 fucking minutes you want to talk about, but these motherfuckers did this and they did that and they owe us this and they owe us that. So what are you talking about? Reparations? What, you trying to get reparations? You know what I'm saying? You think we're going to get reparations? A lot of people that try to get reparations, like I keep telling you, man, whatever, man. I ain't going to keep going into that shit, man. The Constitution considers so-called black people 3/5 of a human being, which means we're not considered human. The Jews and the Japanese got reparations for crimes against humanity because they are considered humans. We are not even considered humans. So guess what? We will never get reparations. Simple and plain. Did y'all not know that? If you didn't know, now you know. So that whole fight for reparations, it ain't never going to happen, y'all. Unless you get that shit through bloodshed. And I don't hear nobody talking that. And I don't hear, and even if you're talking it, I don't see you physically building up the military to do that. So until you do that, all of that tough talk is just tough talk, man. And I ain't got time for that shit. I don't want to hear that shit, man. I got other shit to do. So, like I was saying, how a nation is to use her right of domain, usurpment, of treaties, of alliances, and public treaties, of the dissolution of a renewal of treaty, of the dissolution and renewal of treaty. So yeah, so if you want to dissolve a treaty, like if you want to go out of treaty with a nation, you can. If you want to renew a treaty, like you want to add on new amendments and new things, you want to revive it, you know, saying revise it and so forth, you can do so. It says of conventions between the sovereigns and the private persons. So now, like I was saying, you will have a convention in order to accede to a treaty, a constitution, a declaration, whatever the case may be. The nations that develop these constitutions, treaties, declarations, and so forth, you have to have a sit down with them. It's called a convention. You have to have a sit down with them, the creators of the fucking declaration, the creators of the treaty, the creators of the Constitution, whatever constitution, treaty, or declaration you're trying to become a part of or trying to make apply to you. You have to have a sit down called a convention between the sovereigns who have declared this declaration or in part of this treaty or constitution, and you as the private person, which would be the head of state or the minister for foreign affairs or whatever case may be, whatever your title is, ambassador, counselor, whatever the case may be, whatever you're called, national representative, whatever, you will be that private person that goes and speaks on behalf of your nation to sit down with the other sovereign nations and come to an international agreement called a treaty. Dun, 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 dun. That's how it happens. God, man, I gotta sit there and argue with you motherfuckers. I'm gonna send you this video, man. Like I said, like I'll send you all these other videos. And after all of this, motherfuckers still gonna be talking about, oh, we don't have to do that. We don't have to file nothing with nobody. We don't have to do. We could just do our own thing. We could do. Yeah, okay, man. Like I just told you, you talking like a slave who has a branding on him, known as a birth certificate, social security number, state ID, phone number, residence, all of this shit, email. Like, what the fuck, man? You work for a place, a job. Like, come on, man. All these attachments to you, but all of a sudden, you just gonna say, oh, I'm free and I'm okay. But like I said, you haven't rescinded all contracts, which means, like I said, give back the social, give back the birth certificate, give back the state ID, give back all the contracts that makes you in bondage to them. Unless you do that, and like I said, renounce your allegiance to the sovereign nation that you're presently under, then guess what? You're still under them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm keep saying, man, I'm not with all that talking, man. I'm tired of the talk. If you're not talking about the right things, I don't want to hear what you're talking about. I really don't. I have no time for it. So it says of faith of treaties. You know what I'm saying? The faith of the treaty. And faith is another word. Also, you look up the etymology, it means truth. We don't refer faith to like religion and all of that, but faith also means truth. You know what I'm saying? Validity. Of securities given for the observance of treaties. So yes, in other words, so say something happens and whatever, and some kind of infraction happens, and you need to come before any type of court or whatever the case may be, you have securities given for the observation of treaties, meaning they have to observe the treaty. So in other words, you travel to another country in which you have a treaty with, and then you travel there and you're doing this, that, and the third, da, da, da. Like I said, you may have certain documents or certain things that you may not have searched, or certain rights that you may have, because now you have, like I say, international rights that are protected now. You know what I mean? But had you not been under these rights, then you won't have these protections. It says of the interpretation of treaties. So in other words, right. So in other words, these courts or whoever you have this infraction with, they would have to interpret the treaties and say, oh, okay, well, he is protected under this clause or this provision of the treaty. Okay, yes, we have to give him full immunity, and yes, and da, 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 and all that good stuff, blah, 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 pertaining to the provisions in the treaty. Of the mode of terminating disputes between nations, right? Like I said, if you had any kind of infraction or dispute between nations, the law that they would go by is the treaty. So say for example, you know how if we have a dispute amongst the gods and the earths, we'd be like, yo, God, take it to the math. God, take it to the math. You know what I'm saying? Make it plain, God. Fuck God. We ain't gonna go through degrees and all that. We're gonna take it to the math. God, make it simple. So in that sense, that could be like a treaty among us. That's a form of our treaty amongst us. You know what I'm saying? To the fact that, you know what I'm saying, or just our culture itself being peace. We constantly say peace, 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 peace. Peace is a constant thing among us. So we have just like a oral, verbal treaty of peace. You know what I'm saying? Like we already have a verbally established treaty of peace that we've been saying since 1963. 1963 or 1964, more specifically pertaining to the gods of earth. You know what I'm saying? Like peace has been our universal greeting. So we have verbally and physically displayed for years, for decades, a treaty of peace among us. You know what I'm saying? As a nation. You know what I'm saying? So technically what I'm trying to say and show y'all is that a lot of these things I'm showing y'all, we are already doing these things. This information is just giving us technical terms on how to define the things that we're already doing as a nation. You know what I'm saying? So this is just allowing us to put these things in perspective, and like I said, be able to speak the language. So then when we draw up our documentation to make this truly public notice by being on an international recognition, then it'll be properly executed. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm saying, man. I'm just trying to educate our nation, man. Give our nation some information that we can use to elevate ourselves. That's it. What's the argument? What's the disagreement? What's going on? Oh, I didn't think about that. So now, Cypher God, I didn't bring forth that. I didn't sit down and put all my time and study into that and present something before the nation. Oh man, I'm gonna hate on you when you do. Is that what it is? Okay. So like I said, the mode of terminating disputes between nations. So the treaties, it's all about the treaties. The treaties are the determining factor of this terminating disputes between nations, because they'll say, well, listen, how are y'all having an argument about that? It says right here in y'all treaty that y'all both agree to keep peace, and y'all both agree that y'all not going to intrude on each other's land, and y'all not going to do this, that, and the third, and yada, yada, yada. It's right here in y'all treaty. So the international courts, if this matter is brought before the international courts because you feel if one nation feels the other nation is breaching the treaty, then they could bring this before the international court and have international justice brought about because one nation is breaching the treaty. See what I'm saying? So this is how things work, man, on an international level. This is how nations interface with each other. You know what I'm saying? This is how the big boys do things, man. You know what I'm saying? We still, no disrespect, but I'm just speaking all real, man. We're still thinking like minorities. The word minority is not necessarily pertaining to the fact that, oh, we're outnumbered, it's more people, it's more of other races in this country than us. No, minority means a person who is thinking, a person or a people who is thinking in an adolescent state of mind. And you need adults or people of the age of majority. Root word of opposite of minority is majority. So when you're a minor, root word of minority is minor. A minority is a minor. A minor is an adolescent, one who is not in an adult state yet. But when you become of what they call the age of majority, the age of consent, or what they may call of legal age, that's what's called the age of majority. Now you're a major and you're no longer a minor. You're a major now. You're of the age of majority. You know what I'm saying? And ain't this something, y'all? This is what I'm talking about, how they trap you into the system. Because once you become 18, then you're able to get a state ID, right? But the age 18 is the age of majority that you come into an adult state of mind, and you start being able to think for yourself. So let's just say if as a child, your parents had you under certain contracts with the state, like they had a birth certificate for you, they had a state, they had a social security number for you, and all that, and they allowed that to rock without rescinding the contracts. When you become of age of majority, you could rescind those contracts. You could say, yo, I don't want to use this. You don't have to use a social security number. You don't have to pay taxes. You don't have to do a lot of things that people just do because we think this is just the norm of society. You don't have to do these things. All of these things are voluntary. But like I said, they got us hooked up to the system, to this matrix, that they make it seem like, well, if you don't do this, then how are you going to survive? And in this physical reality that we're living in right now, even though, and when I say reality, it's not the reality that you may want, but it's the reality that is. You know what I'm saying? So just like somebody was saying earlier, he said, life is not, you don't get in life what you want, you get in life what you are. You know what I'm saying? So you know what I'm saying, people, oh, life is fair, how come I can't get what I want? Because you don't get what you want in life. You get what you are. And what you have is due to your behavior. You know what I'm saying? Or how you behave. You know, you break down the word behave. Behave is what you have, what you will exist to have, what you have, what you have. You know what I'm saying? Is what you have. To behave is what you have, or what you have to be. You know what I'm saying? So when people say, yo, man, you have to be a certain kind of way, you have to behave a certain kind of way, you have to be. You know what I'm saying? So your behavior or how you behave is what you have or what you will have. So yeah, man. So how the United States treat others, how you would want them to treat you. That's the golden rule. Exactly. So you do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So when it comes to like treaties of nations and whatnot, they form treaties because they say as nations, yo, listen, as a nation, we're going to do unto you as a nation the same way we would want you. We're going to treat you as a nation the same way we want you to treat us as a nation. And since we drew up this treaty, we have a mutual respect, a mutual agreement. Now we have what's called the international agreement known as a treaty. And we're gonna hold each other accountable to this treaty. We're gonna hold each other, responsible to this treaty. And that's how nations do things. Like, come on, why are we not in the picture of that? Why are we not doing the same thing that all other nations are doing? Is there something wrong with that? Tell me. Is there something wrong with that? Oh, we want to be like I said, we want to be like slaves. We want to be a nation within a nation. And then when we form our own little nations, nation, and I say little because we're not thinking on a big scale. Oh, nation of God's earth, nation of Islam, nation of Hebrews, nation of Nuapi. And then we want to all be warring against each other because we got different belief systems. Like, come on, man. That's what slaves do. Slaves sit there and argue over shit that they don't even own and they have no control over. That's what slaves do. Slaves sit there and set up gang wars between blocks that they don't even own. Nigga, do it say your name up there on that block? No, nigga, that should say Wester Ave. That should say Jefferson Lane, named after some goddamn white man who fucking owns that fucking block and whose family name is on that block. You don't own that shit. You don't own none of the houses on that block, any of the property on that block. You don't own not one store of business on that block. But you want to set up a gang war. Nigga, you can't come over here. This is our jurisdiction. Like you got national jurisdiction or some shit. See what I'm saying? And then we have to resort to what would be considered illegal activity and become what's considered warring factors to all the other nations. Even if we want to build up on some Black Panther shit, you know what I'm saying? You see how they shut down all these militant groups or these militias that band together and try to exercise the right to bear arms and all of that and and they tell them, nigga, that constitution don't apply to you. That shit ain't talking about you. When we say we the people, we ain't talking about your black ass nigga. You can't carry this gun. Who the hell told you could do that? But see, now when we go into our history and we know the stance of the Black Panthers, they were a Republican Party. Did y'all know that? Black Panther Party for Self-Defense was a Republican Party. And as even our flag, even the national anthem, the pledge in school, when I never stood for the pledge after like 6th, 7th grade and up, I didn't stand for the pledge anymore. You know what I'm saying? And I knew that was my right too, and I didn't have to. And I went to the principal's office and I told him, like, yo, I know it's my right. I don't have to stand for the pledge. I don't agree with that. I know that flag under that flag, my people have been enslaved under that flag. So why would I stand up for that flag and be like, oh yeah, and pledge my allegiance to it? I have a right to either stand or not stand. And yeah, the principal know that I knew my shit and I didn't have to stand. So, and yeah, they might have been looking at me kind of awkward, like, oh, this guy, he's a warring factor. He's not bearing weight. He's not standing for the pledge. He's not standing for our flag. Fuck out of here, nigga. That ain't my flag. That's your flag. How they said in the Dead President video, that ain't my flag. That's your flag. You know what I'm saying? That's your flag. You know what I'm saying? My flag is universal. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So anyway, so let me end this chapter here. Like I said, I'm gonna try to make these videos shorter on y'all. So let me end this chapter here, and I'm gonna come back on the next chapter. We're gonna get into the book 3. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. So on that note, y'all, say peace, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, once again, man, I love my nation, man. Excuse me for my frustration, man, but and I'm not even gonna take it out on everybody because maybe this is just a fake book jive pretenders that I've been dealing with as to why I'm not getting the cooperation that I'm asking for with what I'm building on. You know what I'm saying? Maybe if I talk to some gods in the flesh, you know what I'm saying, I may get different answers, some true and living gods. You know what I'm saying? Not y'all flim flam fake book typers. God, today's mathematics is knowledge born. I see knowledge is the original man. And born is to bring into existence. So when the original man plants a seed in a black woman, he brings into existence another version of himself. Like, I just freestyled that mathematics just now. I never said that before, actually. I just actually came to the realization. But I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like that's baby knowledge, man. Come on, man. You don't know your mathematics, man. You don't know your alphabet. You know what I'm saying? Babies know that. So if that's all you're doing is still reiterating mathematics, alphabet, and quoting lessons, I guess you're not ready to do what I'm doing. But if you are, for those who are, holla at me, man. I see this video, man. Leave a chat, man. Leave a comment in the joint, man. You know what I'm saying? Build with me, man. You ain't got to be worried. What, you scared to say you God? Worry about being seen as odd? You know what I'm saying? Oh, man. Oh, that brother over there building with Messiah. And then Messiah basically show and prove that 75% of us fake-ass child pretenders on Facebook ain't real, ain't true and living. Damn, man, he made us feel like all bad and shit, man. Yeah, I hate that nigga, man. That nigga think he know everything. He think he's so fucking smart, man. Yeah, whatever, man. Be a boo-hoo crier. Because I don't think I know every fucking thing. Like I explained everything. Nobody knows everything. But all of us together, we all know everything. So when we talk about this, the root word of Allah is all, right? And then Allah say, we want to see him, we just got to come together. We go around quoting that shit all the time, but we don't never really truly come together. Because why? I don't like that brother over there. I don't like that brother over there. All them brothers from Medina. All them brothers from Mecca. All them brothers from Pelon. All them brothers from... Oh, them niggas is Moors. Oh, they Muslims. Oh, they Wapians. Oh, they this. Oh, they that. But black people need to come together. Black people, we need to come together. You know what I'm saying? Black people, we need to come together. How? We always got all the standoffishness against each other. Everybody's all separated and everybody's all different from each other. But black people, we need to come together. Black people, we need to come together. Black people, we need to come together. I ain't even going to say peace. Bye.